Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Will Folkerts with Refuge at the First United Methodist Church in Sheraton. I hope this finds you well and that you have had a really good week, a very uplifting week. Today, I want to talk about the idea of how little we actually know about God, about our God. Really, have you ever thought? Have you ever thought about that before? Like, have you ever marveled at what He is truly capable of? Or how little we truly understand. I think that's the hardest part. Not understanding. Not understanding why something has happened to us, or maybe something's happening right now. Especially kind of like with COVID right now. Why is that happening to us? So not understanding is tough, and especially not understanding God's plan, a plan set in motion before we were born, a plan that doesn't always match our plan. I've said that to our youth group before, is trying to understand when our plan doesn't match up with God's plan. That's tough stuff. Or play through the way that we want it to. What about an even harder question? And I've been asked this before. Why is there so much suffering in the world when God loves us so much? Why would he let that happen? This is very tough stuff. This is stuff that hardens the heart. These answers are hard to find, if we ever find them. These are the type of questions where faith can be lost. And I urge you to hang in there if you're on the fence here, or struggling with these questions. Humans have a condition that I like to call to know. Okay? So within our intelligence, we are posed with many questions like of the universe. And we have this dying need to know the answer, to know the reason, to know how it works, to know why something has happened, to know can drive people crazy, can drive them mad, can keep people awake at night. I know there are times when I've got questions running through my mind while I'm trying to sleep, and it's just like, oh, why won't it stop? And it bothers you till you get that answer. And that hunger for the answer drives a lot of people. So to find that nice, neat answer that we can tidy up, fully explained, and store in a box as our conquered captive, that challenge met and solved forever. I mean, that drives a lot of people. But let me ask you this: does God fit inside a box? That's an interesting question. Is there that set in stone answer where we can fit God inside that box, nice and neat, put it up on that shelf, and we know that that's God right there in that little shoebox? I'll ask again: does He fit inside that box? And here's the answer. Here's my answer. No, He does not. He's way bigger. It's hard to understand God when we don't have the capacity to do so. And I'm not downplaying our intelligence, but we're not designed to understand. We understand that He created us. We understand that He loves us. We understand to an extent kind of His plan, but not always. But to truly understand the inner workings of our God, we have no chance to truly understand. So in Ephesians 3:16 through 20, it says, so this was kind of a letter to the Ephesians, I pray that from His glorious, unlimited resources, He will empower you with inner strength through His Spirit. Then Christ will make His home in your hearts as you trust in Him. Your roots will grow down into God's love and keep you strong. And may you have the power to understand, as all God's people should, how wide, how long, how high, and how deep His love is. May you experience the love of Christ, though it is too great to understand fully. Then you will be made complete with all the fullness of life and power that comes with God. Now, all the glory to God, who is able, through His mighty power at work within us, to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think. I like that last part where it talks about, may we accomplish infinitely more than what we ask to accomplish. And that's the power of God. Here's my answer. How can a God who loves us so much allow so much suffering in our lives? My answer is that he doesn't. I don't believe that he puts suffering into our lives. Bad things, and I don't know if this is a lame answer, but bad things just happen sometimes. Bad things started in the garden, okay, with Adam and Eve, with the first sin. And it continues to run rampant in our world ever since. Bad things happen even to the best of people, God's people, okay? They happen, and they can happen continuously. Suffering is out there. It happens to everyone, okay? And this is what's hard for some people to understand. God is not this dastardly bad guy who curls his mustache like in those old-timey movies every time we get hurt, or every time suffering enters into our lives. He's not like, "Ooh, got him that time." Oh no, that's not our God. He is the loving Father who cries, who weeps, whose heart breaks every time one of his children's heart breaks. Every time. His heart breaks every day. His heart breaks when there's a diagnosis of cancer. His heart breaks when there's the loss of a loved one. His heart breaks when your feelings get hurt, or if you feel alone, or if you don't feel worthy. His heart breaks, and he weeps with us. He is so much more than what we try to put into that box of trying to understand why he allows that to happen. He is the one who embraces us, who holds us, who walks for us when our suffering becomes too great to bear. We will never know fully, understand fully his plan for us until the day comes when we see him face to face and he shows us. He shows us why this happened to us at that exact moment in our life when it seems too great. I like to think about the ripple effect. The ripple effect is when something happens to us directly, so something happens to me, but the way that it happens to me, my actions then affect something else, which then affects something else, and so on and so forth. Kind of like a ripple or dominoes, where it falls into the next thing. Personal experience has shown me that sometimes it takes looking back at a situation later to gain further understanding of why it might have happened. I'm not saying you're going to gain perfect understanding, but you might understand it more. Who knows? Maybe a conversation that I had with someone during my time of suffering made an important impact on their life. I may never know that. I may never know my impact on other people. Maybe my time of suffering made me strong enough to help someone else who is suffering but is not strong enough. I don't know. You may never know. I like this idea. I like it. It is God uses people to save other people. I want that to sink in, because that's kind of the importance here. God uses people to save other people. And I have a surprise guest today, and she's a very important person in my life. I'll just let her talk. This is my wife, Sarah Folkerts.
Hey guys, I'm Sarah, Will's wife, if you did not know that. So Will has asked me to kind of speak on the topic of being able to fit God in a box and like, why do people suffer? So as humans, we all know that it's really hard to not understand everything fully and to just rest in the unknown and to have faith that it'll be okay. So in my life, I've definitely had a lot of instances where I didn't understand why something happened or why I had to suffer through something yet again. So for example, like, why did my dad have to get cancer and pass away when I was a senior in high school? Why did my grandparents have to pass away within a couple months of each other just a few years ago? Why did my stepdad have to pass away shortly after that? I got to a point, and this was only a couple years ago, I got to a point where I was almost expecting bad things to happen to me. Like, I was constantly expecting the worst. It was kind of a defense mechanism to kind of protect myself from feeling such pain again. And now I will say that I never felt anger towards God. It was more just frustration that my family had to feel that pain yet again, like over and over. Now, I've been asked before, how do I deal with losing so many loved ones, and how do I stay so positive and optimistic? And I can tell you that honestly, if I did not have my faith in God and like that hope of seeing my loved ones in heaven again, I would be a mess. I would not be that optimistic person that I am. Like, that's literally the only thing that has gotten me through that pain. And I've always liked this saying that this is our temporary home. Like, earth is our temporary home. God ultimately is preparing a place for us in heaven so that we can spend eternity with him. Like, our time here is like a snap of the finger compared to the time that we get to spend with God in heaven. Now, God never has promised us that our time here will be easy and pain-free. He never, ever said that. I believe that I had to go through all of that loss and pain because now I have a story that I can share with people that maybe will touch one person. Like, maybe a part of my story will help one person get closer to God. And I'm able to have that empathy with others who have felt that pain before. He also taught me that God alone is the only thing that I need, and that he will provide the strength that I need if I will lean on him. So kind of to wrap it up, I don't know why my family had to endure that pain so many times within a short amount of time. And like, I don't understand it, and that's okay. But I do know that God never left my side. He was always there to wipe away my tears every time, something like that happened. And I'll leave this with you. The verse is Isaiah 55, 8-9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
Thank you, Sarah. You have always been someone who has pushed me to be greater, and I appreciate your testimony, and you've changed a lot of my thought process through our years together, so thank you so much. And I want to leave you with, always know that God is bigger than the box that we try to put him in. Don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. If you're struggling, know that God he's struggling with you. Have a great week.